Join me on this wild journey as I try to uncover the truth behind the legendary El Dorado and debunk the myths once and for all. For centuries, the legend of El Dorado has captivated explorers and treasure hunters alike, promising a city of untold riches and wealth beyond our wildest dreams. But what is it about this mythical place that has fueled our imagination and driven us to search for it? The idea of El Dorado is rooted in the notion of a city made entirely of gold, where the streets are paved with precious metals, and the inhabitants live in unimaginable opulence. It's no wonder that this fantastical concept has sparked the imagination of so many and driven them to embark on perilous quests to find it. But what drove people to believe in this myth in the first place? One theory is that the Spanish conquistadors, who were instrumental in spreading the legend, were motivated by a desire to conquer and plunder the riches of the New World. By conjuring up the idea of a golden city, they were able to justify their brutal conquests and exploitation of the indigenous populations. The myth of El Dorado was also perpetuated by the eyewitness accounts of travelers who claimed to have seen the city with their own eyes. These stories were often exaggerated and distorted, but they added fuel to the fire of public imagination. As the legend grew, so did the number of treasure hunters and explorers who set out to find the fabled city. It's astonishing to think that even today, people are still searching for El Dorado, despite the lack of any concrete evidence to support its existence. But what about the historical context of El Dorado? The myth is deeply rooted in the indigenous cultures of South America, where the Muisca people of present-day Colombia would throw gold and precious jewels into a lake as an offering to their gods. This ritual, known as the Legend of El Dorado, was later misinterpreted by European colonizers who saw it as evidence of a city of gold. The impact of European exploration on these myths cannot be overstated. The violent conquest of the New World led to the destruction of many indigenous cultures, and the myths surrounding El Dorado were often used to justify this violence. The history of El Dorado is complex and multifaceted, spanning centuries and continents. It's a story of colonization, exploitation, and the clash of cultures. The myth of El Dorado has been used to justify brutal conquests, spark treasure hunts, and fuel the imagination of countless people. But what if I told you that El Dorado was never a physical city at all? In reality, El Dorado was a metaphor for wealth and abundance, a symbol of the riches that the New World had to offer. The myths surrounding it were a product of colonialism, greed, and misinterpretation. The City of Gold was never meant to be taken literally. It was a mythical construct created to justify the brutal actions of European colonizers. This revelation raises important questions about the nature of truth and myth. How did we let ourselves become so captivated by a legend that was never based in reality? And what does this say about our ability to discern fact from fiction? The myths surrounding El Dorado have been debunked, but their significance remains. They teach us about the dangers of colonialism, the power of myth and legend, and the importance of questioning our assumptions. In conclusion, the legend of El Dorado may have been debunked, but its impact on history is undeniable. It's a testament to the human imagination and our ability to create myths that capture our hearts and minds. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the world of El Dorado. If you have any thoughts on this legendary city, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And if you're interested in exploring more myths in history, be sure to check out our next video.